right, how are we? We're going to go ahead and get started with how can I implement Flipgrid into a regular classroom setting. This was a question I kind of set out to figure out if this is something that I could utilize, and I have found it to be kind of fun. I think my kids have really enjoyed it as well. So, uh, just another way, another tool in your tool belt in terms of something that you can use for a variety of different lessons or assessments, just depending on what you're doing, could be really, really helpful. First thing I want to hit on, so let's jump over here. Okay, so if you go to the link that I sent out to the group, it should bring you to this screen. This is our Flipgrid workshop class. This should bring you out here to that. Now, if you are creating one of these and we use Google Classroom, all of you utilize that. So we use Google Classroom. You can very easily link this up with your Google Classroom. There are a couple different ways to do that. If you go into the Help Center, which is right up here, you can get to it that way. Or I went ahead, I put the instructions out here on this slideshow that I sent out to you guys. So I've got the steps there for you guys if you would want to access that. Link this right up to your Google Classroom. It's super easy to do that. You simply have to log into Google from your Flipgrid account to link those up, and then you're done. Now, once you've done that, if we go back here, you can actually share this. If you create a group, all right, you can share that group directly to your Google Classroom. So you can see I've already got mine linked up. And one of the cool things about that, I can go right in here. I can pick out a class that I already have set up in my Google Classroom and do it that way. So there's also invite codes that you could send out as well if you'd rather do it that way. Either way, works pretty good. So super easy to use, nothing too crazy. Well, we're going to jump back over here to this PowerPoint. So I'm going to go over and share with you guys essentially a few different ways that I've implemented Flipgrid into 3 of my classes, and I kind of share some of my feedback with you guys and that sort of thing. As we go through this, you will notice I do have a variety of tips listed out here as well on this slideshow. Just things that I've found, or sometimes I might write down some things that the kids said while they were using it. So the first one I've got here, if kids are going to be completing this, or students are going to be doing this at home, make sure that they've got good Wi-Fi connection. I've had a few students that did not have the best Wi-Fi, and their videos were very grainy, very poor quality. Just didn't work quite as well from that point of view. But for my animal science class, I implemented into their small animal unit. They have to learn small animal handling and care and identification. So I paired the students up. We had essentially 10 different animals that they had to work through. And so I had 20 kids. So I put them up in pairs, and each group had to create a video that was under 2 minutes in length, where they went through and they discussed the things to look for. They showed how to properly handle them and that sort of thing. And I think overall it was a pretty good success. I think it worked really, really well for the kids. I put out here student thoughts, and one of my students had indicated using Flipgrid was really made studying for their assessment over handling and identification really easy, because they could go back in, they could rewatch the videos, and it would help them just remember, okay, so when I'm working with this animal, I have to pick it up and handle it this way. And they could visually see that, and I think it made studying for them kind of a breeze. So that was one class there. The next one, my freshman AF&R class, was working through their job interview unit. And I was struggling with them from the standpoint of they were so quiet. They've been quiet all year. They don't say a whole lot. They're very reserved. And at the end of our unit, we do an in-person interview. So I wanted to use this kind of as we did this at the beginning of the unit, kind of an icebreaker for the unit, and I posed them a question: tell me a little bit about yourself. That's all they had to answer. They had to shoot a video of themselves telling the class a little bit about themselves. And I told them, I said, this is one of the most common job interview questions you're going to have. It's going to be one of those things that just comes up in almost every job interview. This question gets asked in one way, shape, or form. So kids were a little concerned at first. They were a little worried. They're, oh no, I don't want people to see my video, or I don't like the way I look, or whatever. And I will say that kids did an excellent job of, as we went through then as a class, and we shared the videos, we watched the videos, we complimented the kids on the different ways that they were answering the question and the things they were coming up with, and that sort of thing. So it was just kind of a fun little icebreaker to start the unit out. And like I said, I think at first kids were a little reserved with it, and then once we started getting into it, they really enjoyed it. So that was good. Next thing here I did is for our ag business unit. For my ag business class, we were doing our ag sales unit. And at the time, when I wanted to implement this to see what my older kids thought of it, they were going through and they were learning about the different types of customers. I'm like, okay, perfect. So I created a quick lesson plan over different types of customers where the kids were paired up. One student had to act as the customer, one had to act as the salesperson. We pretended that the kids worked at John Deere and they were selling gators. And just because I had a gator where the kids could access that and shoot their videos, and one of them had to act as a certain type of customer. So it could be like a delaying customer. It could be a customer who is in a hurry. A lot of different types of customers. The kids were able to sit down. They created a script, and then they had to create a video that was under 2 minutes in length, going over the different types of customers. We then came back, and as a group, we went through the videos, and then they had to identify what type of customer that each student was acting as. So kind of a neat little way to use Flipgrid there. And the kids really had a lot of fun with it. So those are just a few of the ways that I implemented it in my classroom. And they were all kind of random ways that I implemented it, but kids really seemed to enjoy it. They had a lot of fun with it. And I think they really enjoyed going back through other people's videos and seeing what they came up with. Kids were able to be creative. They were able to spend time finding different ways that they could make it funny or entertaining for the class. And I think really turned out really great. All right. So what we're going to do now is you guys will go into Flipgrid. You guys are going to start on assignment 1. And if we go over here to Flipgrid to assignment 1 and you click on that, what I want you guys to do is brainstorm a couple different ideas or ways that you think you would utilize this in your classroom. And I want you to create a video that must be less than 1 minute in length that is just you going over the different ideas that you might have in terms of how you would implement this in your classroom. Now, I will say for this, I would always jot down a few notes before you use Flipgrid, or a brief outline of what it is you're about to be talking about. I find that to be helpful when using Flipgrid so that you're completely prepared. Obviously, if this were a real life scenario, we would then kind of share everybody's thoughts with the group, see if we get any new ideas coming from the group and the different ways that you guys would utilize this. From there, we would begin to kind of wrap up our thoughts on the workshop, and I'll share with you guys your last assignment. I want you guys over the next week to create a lesson plan to implement in your class, any of your classes, whatever it is, that utilizes Flipgrid. All right. I want you to then come back to our Flipgrid class, and I want you to create a video or kind of a reflection video, just talking about what you think how you think it went, what your kids thought. Did this create critical thinking skills? Were the students engaged? Was it easy for them to use? Did they struggle with it? Does it integrate with the tools that you're currently using? So if you look out here on your slideshow, again, I've got that review sheet out there for you. That's located in the same email that your link was sent out in. Again, you can utilize that. And then you'll go into Flipgrid and essentially, here we go. Essentially, you're going to go to assignment number 2 and create anything you'd like to share. Your thoughts on Flipgrid, how you think Flipgrid worked within your classroom in your particular setting, and how you think it worked best. Any new things that you may have found to be useful when using Flipgrid that you'd like to share with the group.